I've been vegan for 5 years now, I think. Might be a little bit more, but quite a while. Lots of friends and people have been asking about different food that I eat. So this is a little video with some of my sort of easy vegan recipes. Yeah, welcome to Vegan Student on a Budget. Simple. So I'm gonna start off. Some baked beans for breakfast. 35p. So beans on toast is obviously a super easy vegan meal to go for. This is my upgraded version of beans on toast. So I started off by cutting in half this panini bread I had and giving it a fry, basically just because I don't have a working toast at the moment. I then chopped up half of this mushroom. Portobello mushrooms are usually quite expensive, but these ones were really cheap in Tesco, so that's what I went for, but any mushroom obviously is fine. So I just gave that a quick fry and then used this vegan spread on my toast. I would usually use Vitalite, but they didn't have any in the shop, and this is perfectly fine, just a sunflower spread. I then added half of the tin of baked beans into the frying pan to heat up, and then added that to the toast. Usually if I wasn't doing mushrooms in with my beans, I would just put the beans into a mug and into the microwave. It's obviously super easy, yummy and affordable. I then topped these with some nutritional yeast, which is just some flakes that kind of taste a bit cheesy but really not essential. And then also added some of these herbs. They're a herb de Provence mix. I just like the flavours. It's nice. And then some salt, and enjoy. So it's now dinner time, and I'm in the mood for risotto, so I have some risotto rice. This maybe isn't one of my go-to simple recipes, but it's just what I'm fancying, so I thought I'd show you guys how I make that. I'm just gonna chuck in whatever veggies I have in the fridge, and some herbs, and it should be quite simple. So yeah. So as I said, I just went for whatever veg I had in. So I started off by chopping half a red onion and then a bit of this red pepper. I also then chopped some courgette and some mushroom left over from earlier that day. Really, any veg would work in a risotto like this. If you're adding frozen veg, I do that at the end, but any fresh veg, fry first before you add the rice. Things like frozen peas, add towards the end when it's almost cooked. So I then added my onions to the frying pan with some olive oil. When I'm cooking, I tend to start with onions frying first and then add whatever vegetable is the crunchiest so that they all have time to soften. I then chopped up a clove of garlic. I probably next time would do 2 because I like the flavour of garlic, but whatever your preference is. And when all the veggies were nicely cooked along with the garlic, I added some salt and some herbs, again the herb de Provence I was using earlier. I then added my risotto rice into the pan and gave it a stir so that the flavours were coated. I probably added a little bit too much rice as there was quite a bit left over, but I came back to that and ate it later, so it was fine. I then added some water to cook the rice in. I would usually do this with stock. I didn't have any, so I just did it without, but I would definitely say do it with stock because it was a little bit lacking in flavour. So just either get a stock cube or bouillon powder and you put that in some boiling water to just dissolve it and then add that instead of the water. So I had some of this garlic baguette that I'd found in Tesco for really cheap, so I popped that in the oven to have with my risotto. I then added some of the red wine I was drinking to the risotto because people do that, it's French, I don't know. So I added some of that. I think it gives it a bit extra flavour, and then I also added a lump of the vegan spread because that kind of gives a nice salty flavour and makes it buttery and yummy. So yeah. Then when it was cooked, I added it to my bowl and had it with the garlic bread. I did find it a little bit bland because I hadn't used the stock, so I added some extra herbs and some nutritional yeast. I would definitely recommend using stock next time. So unfortunately I lost some of the clips for this one, but this is my pizza bread recipe, so it's when I'm craving pizza. So I started off by toasting the bread, drizzling on some olive oil. I then added some tomato puree and spread that out. You can see in the background that I chopped up some veggies, so I chopped up some mushroom and some red pepper, and I coated it in some nutritional yeast, some paprika and some herbs. I then added that on top and put it in the oven until it was nice and crispy. For dinner I decided to have pesto pasta, so I cooked my pasta and then I also fried some veggies to go in with the pesto, same veg been having all week. I then added some of the pesto straight into the pan and mixed that around. Then when the pasta was cooked I also added that into the pan and gave it all mixed, so it's all nicely coated. See the face I'm pulling. So later on in the week I made some more risotto. I'm not going to show you how I did it because I did show that the other day. Again, without the stock, it was a tiny bit bland, but it was nice, and this time I added some frozen green beans. But I'm not gonna go, 'cause I'm alone with you. I'm talking through. So I've generally never been particularly into salad, but when I came up with this recipe, it changed my life. So I start off by chopping up some potatoes, some sweet potatoes and some regular potatoes, and adding them to a pan to roast. I then got half a can of cooked chickpeas and also added that in with the potatoes. And then I put on my favourite herbs and spices, so I put on some smoked paprika, some cumin, some nutritional yeast, some herbs and some salt, and then gave that all a mix, drizzle in olive oil and put in the oven. So I left those to cook for 40 minutes, and while that was happening I came over to make my tahini dressing, which is the dressing for the salad. And take a big dollop of this tahini paste, which is sesame seeds ground up in the same way that you would have peanut butter. It's one of the main ingredients in hummus, so it has quite hummusy flavour. I then added some of the herbs de Provence, again I know, and some garlic granules and some salt. Quite a lot of salt. I think a dressing needs to be quite salty, so I added quite a bit of salt there. I then gave that all a stir and then slowly add water and mix it up until you get like a nice creamy consistency. I added a tiny bit too much water in this clip, so I added a bit more of the tahini to get it to the right consistency that I wanted. I then added straight into that bowl the salad that I bought, just sort of salad leaves, and then added my roasted veggies and chickpeas and topped with sesame seeds. thank you for watching this video. I'm planning to do more videos like this and maybe make a little series of what I eat as a vegan student. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye bye.